Alright, Town Crier's the best turn one. Azalina is not really an anti-zoo tech, but if he's control, it might be decent. I guess even lock is also a thing on ladder. Not this guy, though. If he was even lock, this card would be sick. So, I would just like to take a moment to call to everyone's attention that my opponent just coin tapped on turn 1. I guess there's a voodoo doll coming down this turn. He decided Keleseth was better. But there's gotta be like voodoo doll Happy Ghoul in this part of his hand. I don't think that really changes my play at all. But just know that I'm getting voodoo dolled here. Could be an fungal enchanter even, I guess. Do I want to just burn 2 shield slams here to kill some 3/3s? I can also just play Town Crier plus a Rabid Worgen. I've already drawn Zilliax, so it's guaranteed to hit the 3/3. And then we got the Supercollider coming down next turn. The Slayer of 3/3s. Yes, make that trade instead of getting 3 free damage. Oh, okay.
Someone call for the doctor.
Do I want to just play Zilliax here to clear his board? I don't get the lifesteal value, but I get the kill his guy value. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think it's good. You know what would be a sick draw? Supercollider number 2. He played Soul Infusion last turn, so there's a pretty good chance that this is a Chain Gang or a Doubling Imp. You know what card's good against buffed Chain Gang and Doubling Imps? Supercollider. Three mana, 8/8. But have you met 1.67 mana, deal 8? Because that's a sick card too. I hadn't really thought about the rest of the turn, I just wanted to hit him with Super Collider. But this seems fine.
Someone call for the doctor. It's playtime. Stop copying me! Stop copying me!
Probably holding this for turn 10 at this point. Take a free card off the Acolyte. Another Eternium Rover. Do I want to Shield Slam a 4/4? I could Brawl here, but I just don't really think I need to. Let's gain way too much armor and kill his 4/4.
Computing mushroom power.
Man, I saw a weapon and I got excited. But except it's just this trash. I guess this trash is kind of okay here, though. Next turn, let's get some mechs. What mechs do I want? Beryllium Nullifier is pretty dope. Dyn-o-matic. I guess I just want 3 Dyn-o-matics, because that card's pretty sick. Dyn-o-matic is the second best card in the set. Behind Supercollider, of course. So let's throw this guy here. And we can use the Spring Rocket to kill this. Wow, sick clear, bro. I like how he tapped last, because clearly Leroy Jenkins is the optimal play that turn. Nothing he could have drawn would have changed that.
Your soul shall be mine. Victory or death.
Keep a couple 1-drops for what is likely to be Zoo.
None will survive.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
I don't think there's much difference between 1-2 and 1-3 against even lock this early on. Need to pick up a shield slam.
You fight like a drum.
He's a Rabid Worgen. Self a 3-1 in play to contest whatever he does this turn. Which, if it's a Mountain Giant, I don't really contest at all. Or a Twilight Drake, I also don't really contest. Just smack it a few times and hope it dies eventually, I guess. So we hit here, and Dyn-o-matic clears because it's only 4 health. I don't think I've been hitting him in the face, but he's getting close to those hooked Reavers anyway. Was that a mistake? I don't really have great Black Knight targets in my deck. The Noyatrons and Zilliax, I guess. I wonder if he just thought this had taunt.
That was a mistake.
Let's go ahead and drop a Lease, I guess. And I don't know that I really want to play the Eternium over here. Doesn't really seem like it does a whole lot. Helps me gain armor for Shield Slam, I guess. Maybe that's pretty relevant. And I don't want to hit him in the face because I don't want to enable his hooked Reavers for free. I want him to at least have to tap for it. Matchup's really hard to win when they have Skulking Geist to burn 2 of your removal spells and 2 of your value generators. But I do have Elise in the deck since the last time I played the matchup. Hopefully she helps. Last time I played this it went to fatigue, so maybe I just never play this Acolyte of Pain. Clean up his board, leave myself with a 5-1. Oh, I guess he meant to play the Skulking Geist on turn 6 when he kept emoting. Makes sense, I suppose. She's not really an answer, but she gets in the way. Pretty good Mossy Horror. Let's play Brawl and hope Mountain Giant doesn't live. Nice. Probably have to play another AoE here, but is it Brawl or is it Reckless Flurry? Either way, let's play this. Ooh, another Elise. That's actually really good. This guy could be good too, but maybe a little bit hard to use. See what the Tunneler can do for me. Man, Execute is a good Hearthstone card. I would play that in this deck if I could. That guy's a 7/7 and a 4/4. Is that a Spirit Bomb he pointed at my guy for a minute? What if I just try to get some Lyra value? Does this even hit anything? I don't think I've played any Death Rattle minions. Maybe I can flood with Sherazins. I don't know how easy it is for him to deal 6 from hand. I think there's just a good chance Lyra survives the turn. That's really, really unlucky that he got the best Lich King card. Best one by far, I would say, even. Well, let's get the Sherazin in play. I'm really curious to see if it has synergy with Twilight's Call. Not sure how it works into Frostmourne either. Probably counts for Frostmourne, I would think. Still kills it, right?
I wonder.
That card's difficult to beat. He hasn't played any Dread Infernals though, so it's just little dudes. I have so much card draw in my hand and I don't want to play any of it.
What now?
If I play this thing, he can kill it with Frostmourne. If I play Elise, he can kill it with Frostmourne. Maybe I make a donation of a 3/4. But I like to use this with Dr. Boom. Do I ever just Brawl here? It's probably not a good enough Brawl. Let's pass. This guy I can Brawl. Dr. Boom is definitely a nice one to pick up. Go Acolyte Brawl. Kinda just want to get the Acolyte out of my hand because the card draw is annoying. He lived. It's kinda bad. But I'm still winning in Fatigue, so maybe not a disaster.
This curse has become our greatest strength.
Ooh, got a juicy Supercollider here. I guess it's not super juicy. Well, I'm always getting a card out of this guy, so I guess I'll just get it here. I'm just gonna play this and see what happens. I actually do get a Sherazin out of it. I could have tried to like revive this and then get 2 Sherazins out of it, but I actually just don't think it's really that possible for my deck to revive Sherazin twice at this point. I think even reviving it once is going to be a bit of a stretch. It's pretty much going to involve discovering cheap mechs off Dr. Boom. Well, I can do it once with Eternium Rover, Town Crier, and then like a couple 3-drops or something. but it's gonna be difficult. Also, I know I could have played Mass Dispel to set this guy to 1, but I think this is going to fatigue, so I don't want to draw the card. I mentioned that with the Acolyte, but not directly with the Mass Dispel. I don't even know if Dr. Boom is worth playing. I'm a real big fan of gaining 4 armor every turn. Let's just do this for now. Leave his guy at 1 so it dies to either a Noyatron or whatever AoE is playing to clear the Noyatrons. Wow. Didn't even get a kill out of it. He got Lyra, but he shouldn't have that many spells in his deck. Guess he can always just chain off of the Lyra, though. Well, that was bad. There are a couple Dr. Boom hero powers that let me kill Lyra. I can also just play Tink Master, trade this off, and then if it hits Lyra, either result is fine. If it hits this and it turns into a 5/5, then I can Super Collide Lyra into it. Oh, there's actually only one Boom hero power that kills it since this thing has taunt. Let's Tink, I guess. I don't know. I'm just gonna take the armor out of this thing. I don't know how good it's really gonna be with Boom, and I don't even know if I want to play Boom. I have no spells in my deck. Damn, silenced my 3/4. Iliax is pretty cool here.
Unity, precision.
Let's go ahead and gain that armor every turn.
Pitiful mortal.
Damn, dude, that's a 4/4. I guess I'll just play Baku here. It doesn't really get much better than this. If I'm not playing it here, I'm probably just never playing it. And held back on the Eternium Rover because I want to use it for Sharazans. Alright, makes sense. Play Elise, gain some armor, kill his boy. So I'm winning Fatigue pretty hard. He's 3 ahead of me. His hero power is better than mine. And a lot of my hand is pretty useless. Okay. I think he still has a Priest spell in his hand. Yes, nailed the Acolyte. He got a Flame Imp, I got a Felguard, that's good for me. Ungoro pack. So I have 8 cards in hand. I can go Eternium Rover, Felguard, pack, and then just hope I find something that costs 4 or less. Hopefully 2 or less. Or I could just wait for the Town Crier. I think that's pretty reasonable as well. But I kind of want to get this Taunt in play to block the Flame Imp. If I play out the Taunt and get the Town Crier, then I just need a card that costs 6 or less, which is basically guaranteed. Could even just play the Dyn-o-matic if I had to. I have to eat this 3 damage, which I don't know if I love, but I can just spend the turn developing Supercollider. Get the Supercollider down. Alright, 8 cards in hand, so we need to play a couple things. Another Elise. Damn, this one kind of sucks. Stampede plus Emerald Reaver is a combo, though. Go ahead and just shoot the Acolyte, I think. Maybe I'll just play this guy. That's kind of a lot of stuff into AoE, but does he even have an AoE? He probably still has a Defile, right? I actually don't know, because I'm bad at Hearthstone.
What
If I go for this line, I can revive my Sherazins again, which I guess is a pretty relevant point. Oh no, I can anyway, with these two, and these two. Let's shoot the Flame Imp. Hellfire, sure. If I'd played this guy, he would have died to the hero power after the Hellfire. It's a good card.
That didn't go as
Let's just play this guy. Can't summon these Sherazins again, I don't think. I can play 3 cards for 9 mana, but there's no way to get the last one. Well, I can kill Doomsayer, so whatever. Oh, I ripped my Sherazin. But this is fine. Oh, traded off the wrong 5 power minion. Doesn't really matter. Don't think I can lose from here. God, what does he have left in his hand if he thinks he can still win? Maybe he has mind control for this big worm. I think he does still have that priest card.
come to me, little ones?
I guess I'll just do this. Oh, okay. Spellstone, sure. So I was able to fatigue this guy by just not playing Dr. Boom. Interesting. I ended my run with this deck with a 63% win rate, which is pretty good, I would say. But what I learned is that your matchups matter a lot. If you're just queuing into Malygos Druid and Zoo, and probably even Odd Paladin, Aggro Mage, you're going to win pretty much every game. But if you're queuing into the OTK decks like Shudderwalk Shaman, Mech decks, probably Togwaggle Druid, the Topsy Turvy Priest, or even some of the non-OTK decks like Death Rattle Hunter, you're going to have a really rough time. Another deck that you're really unhappy to see is Taunt Druid, so for that reason I threw in a Tinkmaster Overspark. Taunt Druid doesn't seem to be that common on ladder, but in like 40 games I played against I think like 5 Taunt Druids with this deck. And I think without Tinkmaster, there's a literal 0% chance of winning that matchup. And with the Tinkmaster, there's probably like a 10% chance of winning, so thought I would toss him in. Another addition to the deck is Elise the Trailblazer. I lost like 3 games in a row in Fatigue, but just barely. So I figured I'd give myself a little bit of extra late game value. And I figure she has to be better than Azalina Soul Thief, which is what I was originally playing in this slot. I had Azalina in the deck for like 25 games, and in one of those games, she did straight up just win me the game against a Togwaggle Druid. But in the other 24, she didn't do anything. I always felt like my hand was probably better than my opponent's, or I just couldn't afford to give up my AoE or whatever. So Azalina out, Elise the Trailblazer in. And to make room for the Tinkmaster, I cut a copy of Reckless Flurry. Sometimes this card is kind of awkward because you don't really want to burn 20 armor to clear a zoo board or whatever. But you do definitely need the AoE in some matchups, even if you're not casting this twice. You definitely want to draw the first copy most of the time. So if you're not running into Taunt Druids, then probably just cut the Tinkmaster and throw the Reckless Flurry back in. Other than that, I think I'm pretty happy with the list. This little guy put in a lot of work against aggro, and he even just helps out the shield slams in the non-aggro matchups. Omega Assembly gives a lot of value, kind of a bummer when you hit Skaterbot and Alarmabot, but overall I'd say it's a pretty good card. The Blackwalled Pixie put in some work. I'm not sure that it's optimal, but gaining 8 armor in a turn, or with Dr. Boom you can gain 14 armor in a turn, That's pretty sick. Or just like discover multiple mechs or whatever. I think it put in some good work. Dyn-o-matic and Supercollider are just like the best cards in the set. Definitely very pleased with how those performed. And Ziliax put in some good work too. The Giggling Inventor felt pretty good most of the time, but I'm not sure it's the best card you can be playing in this deck. And it seems that every day deeper into the expansion, there's more and more Mossy Horrors and Blood Knights on ladder, so it's possible that the Giggling Inventor is just becoming a liability. Not really sure what I would play in its place though. Maybe just some stupid taunt minion like Rotten Apple Bomb or something. Or maybe even just like throw in War Gear, although I guess then you're cutting mechs to throw in the War Gear, so probably not. I don't know what I would play here, but if you keep getting Mossy Horde, I would say it's worthwhile to consider cutting the Inventor. Honestly, my least favorite card in this deck is Dr. Boom Mad Genius, because I feel like it's so rare that his hero power is actually helpful. If you're up against like Malagos Druid, your win condition is just tanking up every turn, this guy doesn't help. If you're up against Zoo, you just need to tank up and clear their board, this guy doesn't really help. If you're up against any of the OTK decks, I guess this guy maybe gives you like a 1% chance to win if you drop him on like coin him out on turn 6. If your opponent is any Hunter deck, you just lose to Deathstalker Rexar even if you get this guy in play. So he just seems unnecessary in your good matchups, and doesn't do anything to help in your bad matchups. In the last game I played, I fatigued an even lock without even playing Dr. Boom. I just felt like tank up was better even in that matchup. Although I did get some pretty sick Elise packs, I must admit. But yeah, in this deck, I don't think I really liked the Dr. Boom. Maybe he makes more sense in one of those recruit lists that play big mechs, so his battle cry is more relevant. Or maybe just in a more standard control warrior, where his hero power is more of an upgrade over armor up compared to tank up. But in this deck, I felt like I almost always wanted tank up more than the big red button.